Greetings, YouTube. 'Tis I, the Taterbeard, here to show you my latest creation. Let's begin. Welcome back, everyone. This is video 3 in my series for the Fringe Arts Festival 2021 in Mount Gambier, as I make my 3D composition on Blender, entitled Master of the Hunt. In this video, I will be making a firefly that I intend to populate my dark forest with. It's going to be the best damn firefly anyone's ever seen. Then I'm going to cancel it after just one season for no good reason. That's just the way it has to be. But indeed, this video, I will be making a cool little firefly type bug. The Darkwood forest set is a very dark and gloomy scene. So to add some contrast and brighten up a few spots in the composition, I intend to pop these little guys in about the place, doing what fireflies do best and glowing away a nice green colour to match the glow within the Burton trees. So as usual, I plotted out the basic shape of the guy, in this case 3 spheres for the 3 segments of his body, and then I jumped in with the Polysculpt tools and started working away. And again, you can just see how easily the dynamic topology settings allow you to work a basic sphere into the shape you want just by pulling parts around, adding extra material, smoothing it off, crisping up the edges, rinse, repeat. And another great feature of dynamic topology is a detail setting, where you can set how many polygons the program will actually make when you add or take away extra geometry. So the higher that setting, the more detail you'll be able to put in, the smoother it'll look, the more polygons there will be underneath that part you create. So a really good way to work in dynamic topology is to use a lower detail level to start off with, just to build the basic shape, and then when you've got everything where you want it to be, you can raise the detail level and go back in and smooth some edges, crisp them up, add some finer details that you wouldn't have been able to get in there very well in the previous detail level. And that's basically how it goes. Add the detail, smooth it off, raise the detail level, and then do it all over again. So here I'm just doing all the chitinous shell sections, and you can see I took that lower body back because I wanted to add this second part here. You can see the abdomen, where I've just added a second sphere, stretched it out in the shape I want. Now I'm just sculpting in those details. I've made this a separate piece because I want that abdomen to be glowing later, but I don't want that upper shell section to be, so it's just easier to split them into 2 objects. Sculpting the last of the details on this guy. And then here you see I've added some limbs, just using basic geometry to start with the cylinder, taper it in a bit, and then spheres for the joints. Not going into too much detail on the arms of this bug, because quite obviously they're going to be very, very small. So he's got a basic set of grippers for the front, and then I'll give him a little spiked hook for the back arms. You can also see I added some antennas with a small bauble on the end of it. I'll make those baubles glow, as well as the abdomen. Here you see I'm adding an armature to the arms, which is basically a set of bones, and then you can attach the objects that make up his arm to those bones, so that when you move the bones around, all of the objects will follow with it. That means you can pose your models really, really easily. And I'm doing this so that when I copy him into my main composition, I'll be able to duplicate him over and over, just change the arms, change his pose, like turn his head, and make them look like different bugs so they're not identical copies of each other. So now we're working on the wing. Just started with a cylinder and squeezed it down to the width I wanted it to be, and then just used the outside points of that cylinder to pull out the shape of the wing that I wanted. And when that's done, I'm going to add some details to it. Now Blender comes with a whole bunch of really cool tools that are hidden away in a preference menu somewhere that you have to unlock for some reason, I don't know. And one of them is this honeycomb tool. I've used this a few times already in previous sculpts, and it's very, very handy because it's all geometrically perfect. You don't have to program it yourself. You don't have to sculpt it out yourself, and it's there to go. There's an old phrase, don't reinvent the wheel. Don't do a bunch of work that you don't have to. All of these primitive things are in Blender to be used, so as you can see, I've just used that to etch that shape out of the wing, and it's made a really, really cool pattern on those wings with minimal effort. Now I'm adding texture. You can see on all the chitinous parts I've gone for kind of a cicada look. I've turned up the metallic setting on that material so it's nice and shiny. And then the wings and his abdomen, and again, as I mentioned, those little glowing balls on the back of his antennas, I'm going to make them all nice and glowy. You can see I've put a sphere next to him so you can see how much that's reflecting. Then I just import that object into my main project, scale him down, and then I can put him into a collection, a folder, all of his parts all on his own, so that it's a lot easier to select, so I can duplicate him and make more and copy them about in the background. But for now, I'll scale this guy down and go back into an isometric view and find out where I'm going to put him. I'm going to put him right up the front, as I want him to act as the third focal point of the piece. Basically working on a triangle layout for the composition. The Burton Tree on the left. This bug will act as the focal point on the right, and the central character will be standing on the rock center screen. We're just going to turn him so that he's moved facing into the center of the scene a little better. And I'm going to make sure he's close enough to that rock that his abdomen is going to glow against it as well. And then when he's done and I'm happy with him, I'll duplicate him and make a whole bunch of extra ones, change up the pose a little on each, and just set them around the scene. And just to show you how that glow effects looks, I did a quick pre-render here. A few effects in there just to accentuate the glow. And here's a render of a work in progress so far, just to show off all the glowing elements of it. As you can see, I added a few more and a few halo effects to really show off the glowing areas. Well, that's it for this video. Stay tuned. In the next video, we'll be adding the main centerpiece to the composition, the master of the hunt himself. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check down below in my description, there's a link to my cults page. You can follow me there to see all the STL files I've uploaded for 3D printing. But until next time, this is the Taterbeard, signing off.